Alright, welcome back to another league race. This time we're with DNS. This time we are in France. Paul Ricard, a track I had never really done extended running at before today, or for the day of this race, which was Tuesday. So, didn't know what to expect, but anyways, we're going to go in, and it's a dry qualifying and a dry race. So, I don't know if you're here in the background, but Carl wasn't too happy that they didn't give him the soft tyres. So luckily I got some soft tyres. And opening lap at 31.9. I knew there was more time in it, so I tried to go for another run, but as you can see here, heading down to the chicane, I cut the corner, and that's an invalidation. So I was thinking, shit. So I went for another run, and this run was much better. And you can see we're going to improve by over 5/10 and do a 31.3. So not too bad on a set of softs. Nice banana flavoured softs on that Renault, looking very, very tasty indeed. So, didn't know what to expect, to be honest. But I knew I wanted no power on the ultra softs. I wanted to use the super softs. So that was the plan. And here we are leaving the garage for our final run. I waited for a good bit. You could see I waited around 4 minutes or so left, just in case I invalidated the first lap. But here we go now. This is our flying lap coming to a close, and it's a 30.4 on supers, and I was very happy with that lap, all things considered. So I decided that was enough, and did I not put a transition there? Oops. Anyways, I felt qualified third, but the pace of Not On Pole and Steve was interesting, because they did crack into the 29s, which is not bad at all. So I'm thinking, ooh, okay. But they were on ultra softs, and that was my one crumb of hope heading into this one, that they were on ultra soft. So yeah, see what we can do. So anyways, moving into the race, we are going to do a one stop. So let's see then what we can do. Put a bit of fuel in, and yeah, let's see what we can do around this very weird track. But I have to say, really enjoyed it once it got on the flow. So here we go then, long run down to turn 1. I'm wary of Trench on ultras behind me and some others on ultras behind me, but away we go, and it looks like a good start. Very good start for that matter, actually. Holding position, very happy to do that at this stage of the race. Trench on my outside, and just take it very cautiously heading into the first few turns. And that's not a bad start at all. I was happy enough to sit behind Steve and George for the first few laps, just while things settle down, get into a groove for the track, the conditions, everything. Make sure to make sure I get everything right, basically, my lines, all this kind of stuff. So that's how things stood for the end of this first lap and the first few laps. So we're not going to spend too much time here on lap 1. Moving on to lap 2, you can see still keeping pace with the guys in front and creating a bit of a gap to the cars behind. So just biding my time, basically, was the order of business here early on. I knew those ultras would eventually drop, and I knew that would come to my advantage later. So that's what I was holding on to, and yeah, you really have to be careful through that second turn. But later that lap, lap 3, you can see Steve get the squirm on, and I've been waiting for this moment. So bump up into Rich, overtake DRS, and this will be a very easy move in the end because the DRS straight is very long, so I slot into the racing line, turn mixes down a little bit, and we can now set off after George / Not On Pole. So lap 4 though, Steve has had a spin somewhere, I believe, and George I'm catching quick enough now, and once I cleared Steve, obviously with the help of DRS that lap, or second lap rather, set the fastest lap of the race. So pace is looking good, and here then I think it's the first attempt we're going to have at George. I mean, his DRS bumped up with overtake. I've been doing a good job saving fuel and ERS while behind those two rather, I should say, George and Steve. Pull out to the outside in the braking zone, but I misjudged that. I ran quite wide. We didn't realise the corner was actually a lot sooner than it actually was, so I had racing line but kind of fluffed it up. Lap 6, heading on to lap 7. Again, I'm dying to get past at this stage. Like, I'm kind of, well, not dying, but I'm getting impatient. And the opportunity opens up into turn 1. I try and go for it. I back out of it. I try to go for a switch back. and misjudge it, and I am now very, very mad because now I've got a damaged wing and now I'm really up against it. So later that lap I was just like, I'm going down your inside and I don't really care, because I'm absolutely sick of it. Try to leave the space as well, but race and line exit, but he's going to have a bit more in a straight line than I do. Well, a little bit. I think I didn't go to overtake, but the key killer here is going to be that I can't really take this flat out anymore with my wing damage, so I run wide, and George is going to keep that position for the time being, but he's really struggling. He's taking his ultras quite far, and this is the part of the race where I should be absolutely extending an advantage, and I can't now because of my front wing damage, so it's going to be difficult. But heading out now out of the first sector, you can see I'm a second slower in the first sector, partly to do with tyre wear, partly to do with wing damage, but anyways, we're quite a far way back, but we're closing in quickly and quickly and quickly. Well, this is going to be a late one from me. I go down the inside, kind of squeeze him off a little bit, give him the space coming back on, but it's going to compromise his exit. So I'm not entirely proud of that move, but look, I was frustrated. As you could tell, the wing damage, I felt that he had I felt at the time that he played a part in me getting wing damage as well, which I probably wrongly assumed, but again, at the time, that's how I felt. So lap 9, I believe now he's going to pop into the pits, so he's got to get those soft tyres, 17 laps or so, which is a long way to get those tyres. So, but my pit window was lap 11, so, and here we are on lap 11, coming in for our stops. I could have gone a bit further, but with the wing damage I thought nah. So it's quite a different pit lane entry here to other tracks. It's quite sudden and very slow. So we're going to change this wing. Make sure I said that to yes. We're going to change this wing and see what we can do.
That corner gets looking very short, very fast.
Soft tyres, of course, and away we go. So obviously George has gone by now, so we're going to go on board for this first part of this lap, to see the gap basically of what we have to do, what we have to accomplish in these last 15 laps or so. I also knew at the time that George had a penalty, 1 3-second penalty. I had no warnings up to this point, so I knew that I needed to close the gap to within 3 seconds at the very, very least. So these soft tires felt so good. They really did. They felt fantastic. But the gap we have to work with is 9.7 seconds. So that's what we have to close in for the rest of this race. We've got clear in front of us. So that's the race there, is to close that gap in. And it's already heading on to lap 14. Pace looking very good on the set of soft. I'm going to set the fastest lap here at 33.9. And already the gap is 8 seconds. So really showing really good pace on these. On these softs. Lap 16, the gap is 6 seconds. I'm getting closer and closer and closer. Steve left or disconnected during the game, not sure which one. But for us, our race was just continuing to close down that gap on George in 4.4 seconds by lap 20. So his tyres are older than mine as well. That's the other thing that to be mentioned here, is that his tyres are older than mine, and I do have more to give in these tyres than he does. Lap 10 onto lap 24, we've cracked within the 3 second range now, but I want to pass him. I want to pass him on track, because that would have been much more satisfying to me than a penalty deciding this all. So that's what I decided I wanted to do. Lap 27 though, this is the last lap of the race. It was 1.2. I was really pushing to get within DRS, because I thought once it got within DRS he wouldn't have a hope. But it never happened, and this is how the race looks like it's going to finish. So he's ahead, and he still has that time penalty you just saw at the bottom of 3 seconds. So providing I don't get a 3 second penalty, because I have no warnings up to this point at all, I'm going to win this race. So let's see though. I would really have really wanted to pass him on track, but it wasn't to be. But consistency was the absolute game of the day here, and I'm going to finish the race in second, but I'm going to win the race on penalties. So that was very satisfying, because look, I would have liked to have passed him, but to make up the time, I had a lot of ground to make up in that second stint. I had a lot of time, but I did have a lot of ground to make up. I knew what I had to do. I knew that penalties were going to be an issue, and they were going to be key. I didn't get one. and then you get a warning for that race. Like that was how consistent that this race was for me. So, anyways, last time out was a kind of a bludgeoning in Canada, but this one really had to work for it. Really fun track. Like I have to say, I wasn't mad on it before, but having gone to race it, getting into the flow, the setup that really works, really enjoyed it. So there you go then. Only driver not to get a penalty that finished the race. And happy days. Yeah, lap times were quick. You're going to see, I'm going to pull up the I'm going to show the lap times, and you're going to have to look at them quickly. I just wanted to get a quick look at the incidents and such for stewards and such, but you're going to see kind of how consistent these tyres were. I'm racing to get in here to the lap times because I knew time was running out. But look at that consistency, absolutely fantastic. That's what will mean the race as well as no penalties. That's going to do it for France. Next up in DNS is Austria, I believe, so see you then.